pray.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come.
thy will be done,
Thy will be done
in earth,
as
it is in heaven.
in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us of our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
From thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory forever.
and the glory forever.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Hey, yeah. No paper or nothing. No paper. Hey. That is how it's supposed to be. I can't front. I don't know. Like, for the longest time, I never memorized the Lord's Prayer. And I knew for me, I had to, because I ended up having to do it for a baptism. And I messed it up during a baptism. And then come to find out somebody was recording it live.
I feel bad.
Man, I did, bruh. For the longest time, I'm like, bruh, now I gotta learn the Lord's Prayer by heart. The Lord forced me to, because I embarrassed myself in public. But yeah, give it up for Josh again for that, yeah, huh? Yeah. That's what's up.
Was this Q&A?
Yeah, this Q&A. Yes, sir. And we are live. All right. So yeah. So we want to say all praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everybody that's here in the name of Jesus. Peace to everybody that's here in the name of Jesus. Peace. And now I'm messing, but peace to everybody that's tuned in, that may be tuned in, and to the people that aren't tuned in yet, but they gonna come in and join us. So peace to everybody, and we gonna do what we normally do. Yep, that's better, so you don't have to look back. They gonna come in and join us. That's better. That's definitely better. One time you looked like you was having an exorcism when you was looking back. But so we gonna get into another. I felt like we was polished just now, just talking, like joking on the plane. But I know what we usually do when we open the floor for Q&A is we always want to start in-house, just out of respect for our members that actually made it here. We know that it's a lot of people that watch from different places, but we want to start in-house, right? Just like with the Lord, you know, when it came to saving all the nations, see, it ain't nothing wrong with starting at home, brothers and sisters. That's what you're supposed to do. We just so alienated from our culture, right, that we kill each other first instead of look out for each other first. But even the Lord made it very clear that you're supposed to start and look out from the inside first, home first. He even said when he came in the flesh, right, when he went to the disciples. Let's go to Matthew 10. Let's go to Matthew 10 and look at the importance of starting at home first. And then we're going to start it off with Brother Jonathan, who has the first question, right? So Matthew 10. Oh, and brothers and sisters, if you want to, it's optional. You can share the lesson, share the Q&A, on Facebook, so more people can see it, more people can ask questions, right? Because that's what this is all about, trying to help the people.
What?
So, share the lesson. Yeah, about to share that.
Matthew 6.
Matthew 10. Yep, Matthew 10. We are live for Q&A. Yes, sir. So we're going to show you the importance of starting at home. Matthew 10. One second, I'm just sharing the video. Okay. So, Matthew 10, and we are going to start at. Let's do a little history lesson. We're going to start at verse 1. Let's go, bro. Matthew 10 and 1.
Matthew chapter 10 and verse 1.
Yes, sir.
And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples.
Oh, so this is the beginning of Christ sending out his apostles to do miracles and to teach. This is the beginning of it. And we're going to learn some important things, but our main thing that we came here for is to look at dealing with inside the family, inside the house first. Go ahead.
He gave them powers against unclean spirits.
Wait, again, I told y'all we the real Super Saiyans. He gave them powers against wickedness. Well, who did Goku and Gohan and Krillin and Piccolo all them fight? They fought against the bad guys. We the real Super Saiyans, y'all. We gonna show you that, and eventually we gonna have our superpowers. Yeah, we'll be able to fly. We'll be able to go through and do instant transmission. Didn't Jesus do instant transmission? I told you we the real Super Saiyans, but that's another lesson for another time.
That's right.
All right, keep going, bro.
He gave them powers against unclean spirits to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
Wow, so if you want healing, then you know you need to go to the power source. Go ahead.
Now the names of the 12 apostles are these: the first Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee.
Sons of Zebedee, the sons of thunder. Go ahead.
And John his brother.
So James and John were brothers. They were the brothers of thunder. Go ahead.
Philip and Bartholomew.
Bartholomew.
Thomas and Matthew, the publican.
Oh, so Matthew was the publican, and that was a big deal, right? Because the publicans were looked at as bad people, right? Go ahead.
James, the son of Alphaeus. And Zebeus. Lebbeus. Whose surname was Thaddeus.
Yep, nice.
Simon the Canaanite. And Judas Iscariot.
Who did what?
Who also betrayed him.
Right, so that's why accountability, you can serve God but not with a perfect heart. Judas is a prime example of that. So don't ever fool yourself and think just because you're keeping the Sabbath and the feast days and the dietary law that that's enough to get to make it into the kingdom. It's definitely not enough. We should have seen that through the lesson today. And don't get it twisted when you see Simon. Obviously, it says the Canaanite because obviously that's where that land is, right? Israel, Canaan. He was not an Hamite because he couldn't be a Hamite. And you know he couldn't be a Hamite because guess what? The Hamites are not inside, and you're supposed to start inside first. That's the whole point. So let's see what he says in verse 5.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles. Malcolm X even quoted this, brothers and sisters. Because Malcolm X knows that Negroes are the Israelites. How come they don't teach you that during Black History Month? Go ahead.
And into any city of the Samaritans.
The Samaritans. What do he say?
Samaritans, enter ye not.
Don't even go, because you're supposed to start at home first. That's the point. What did it say, bro?
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So we start inside first, brothers and sisters. Keep going.
And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
The kingdom is at heaven. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. And that's why when we even look at Romans 3, it tells you the Jew first, then the Gentile, right? In another place in Matthew 15, let's just go there since we're in Matthew. Let's look at it a little bit deeper. Because the Lord is for all people. But he starts at home first. He starts inside first. And that is okay. I heard a great example about that, about the importance of it. If you think about a hurricane, or if you think about a drought, right? When you stock up on food or rations, right? You doing that to feed your home first, your family first, because that's where it starts. It starts in the inside. And we need to have the same mentality with our people, right? As opposed to being enemies with our people. Now, that don't mean you have to be anti your neighbor. Being pro-black doesn't mean you're anti-white, right? It just means you start and you care about home first. If we have some leftover food during this time and you don't, then yes, that's when you share. But you have to start at home first, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah, the Mashiach, was a nationalist. He was a pro-black nationalist, right? And we're going to show you that in more detail right here, and then we're going to get into the questions. In-house first, right? Now, bro, what you can do is pick it up. You're going to see the importance and how severe it is with the Lord. Pick it up at, this is how we know that Simon wasn't even an actual Canaanite. Pick it up at verse 21, bro. 21.
Verse 21.
Let's go.
Then Jesus went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon.
Okay, so Sidon. What are the coasts of Tyre and Sidon? Who are they the descendants of? Or where does that land, what nationality does that land tie back to? To the Hamites, more specifically the Canaanites. Okay? So when you read that throughout history, Tyre, Sidon, you're dealing with a black people. And it's important that you know that because they were very important to history and civilization. Okay? But keep going, bro.
And behold, a woman of Canaan.
Oh, so now this is a Canaanite woman. And we're going to show you that. That's different from Simon. Simon was an Israelite. Go ahead.
Came out of the same coast.
Oh, so she came out of the same coast. She came out of that coast. Right? Simon came out of Israel. Go ahead.
And she came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil.
Grievously vexed with a devil. Man, that's terrible, right? Not just vexed. Vexed is bad enough.
Grievous.
But grievously vexed. Man, boy, that's the real exorcism type stuff. Right? So now, didn't he give his disciples power over the healing of diseases and casting out spirits? So that's why she's coming to him, the power source. Go ahead, bro.
But he answered her not a word.
Whoa, the Lord didn't answer her? Why? But she's crying out to the Lord for help. Remember, he starts at home first, right? Even though these are both black people. One's a Hamite, one's a Shemite. They both look alike. But that shows you the importance of God's order. The Jew first, then the Gentile. He said, don't go in the way of the Gentiles or the way of the Samaritans, neither the Africans, right? But this is going to show you how merciful the Lord is. Go ahead, bro.
And his disciples came and besought him.
Look what his disciples say. Because remember, the disciples, we just read about the disciples. We just read about the disciples and him giving their power and telling them not to go away to the way of the Gentiles, but to the house of Israel first. Go ahead, bro.
Saying, send her away.
Wow, they said send her away? Because they already got the charge to don't go into any other nation first. Why is that? Because that is the importance of Israel, brothers and sisters. Salvation is of the Jews, and we are the lost sheep, so we have to wake up first in order to spread the word to the rest of the world. That's the order. That's how important God's order is. Go ahead.
For she cried after us. But he answered and said,
Look,
I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Wow. So this thing was serious. And look how serious she understood the order, because they don't understand the order today. You focus on the importance and the starting up with Israel today. If you came out and you said that publicly or at the United Nations, you know what they're going to call you, right? Anti-Semitic. Because you're not talking about the Edomites or the Gentile converts. You're talking about the lost sheep. If anybody's lost, it's us, not them. They know who they are, right? They just stole our history, our culture, and identity, as the book of Obadiah will tell you. Go ahead.
And then came she and worshipped him.
Look at that.
saying,
So she still worshiped him. That's how important it is when you know the truth. Go ahead.
Lord, help me.
Wow, again. And this is going to show you the mercy of the Lord. Even though his order is the Jew first, the house of Israel first, this just shows you how much mercy he actually has. Go ahead.
But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread.
Look at that. See, again, there goes the example of the hurricane, right? Of the drought. It is not meet to take the children's bread. This word is for the children, and do what? What is he about to say? This is harsh.
And to cast it to dogs.
And to cast it to dogs. That's how important, right? Now, he not calling her, a B word. He's not doing that. He's just showing you the significance of the order. Dogs, in this case, is just referring to another nation, heathens that don't know God. Because there's an order. But he's so merciful, he went out of order. Right? And we talked about that. Me and Brother Jonathan talked about that before. How there's always exceptions to a rule. Right? We look at Enoch and getting eternal life. We look at David and eating the showbread. There's always exceptions to the rule. Now, but you don't want to make a move thinking you're the exception to the rule. You don't want to do that. Because that's how you can end up in left field. Right? God is the one who decides who to make the exception for. He said he'll have mercy to whomever he have mercy for and to. Right? Because you look at, see now again, don't get beside yourself, don't get crazy. But I'm just letting you know, I'm just showing you some things. Right? Some things that the Lord showed me, things that I discovered when I read, right? That even his mercy is so real and so exceptional that if you think about Samson, Samson he was not a preacher, right? He was a judge, right? So he wasn't prophesying like a normal, character in the Bible, right? But he delivered Israel, brothers and sisters. But in delivering Israel, do you know this man did not live a very moral life when it came to women? He didn't, right? But you're not Samson, and I'm not Samson. But we can read Samson's name in Hebrews 10, getting into the kingdom, right? So the Lord saw it fit to put him in the kingdom. That just is a mini lesson on how the Lord has exceptions to the rules. That don't try to be an exception though, because that's the Lord's, that's his account. He can account for you when it comes to that. Not you. You can't justify yourself. Right. You can't be like, well, Lord, King David did it. I said, don't do that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So that's why you got it right here.
No, I'm just looking at the screen.
No, I'm saying, why you looking at the screen? It's right here.
I know. Yeah.
So you don't want to act like you're the exception to the rule, brothers and sisters. When you see things like that, right? You see King David took a man's wife and got him murdered. Don't think you can do that. Don't think that that's cool just because you saw him do it. That was the only fault King David actually had. You can read about his account. That was his only fault. None of us can say we only did one or two things, two sins against God. None of us can say that. Right. So don't ever get beside yourself when you read things in the Bible and think that you're special or that you're the exception to the rule. No. Right? So now, but let's look at this exception to the rule, bro. Where you at, 27? Mm-hmm. All right, let's go. Read 26 from the top.
But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs.
Wow. Go ahead.
And she said, truth, Lord.
Look how humble she is. Look how humble this woman was. Go ahead. A non-Israelite. Go ahead.
Yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table.
The dogs eat from the crumbs which fall from the nest. And you know if you got a dog, that's what they do. They're going to run up. Right? So look how, that's huge. That's a huge thing she's saying. She was like, can I at least get a crumb? I'll take being the dog. I understand that it starts with your chosen people. See, people don't got that type of humility today. This would have been deemed as hate speech. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 28.
Yup.
Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith.
Great is thy faith. Look at that. Like the song, great is thy faithfulness. Go ahead.
Be it unto thee, even as thou wilt.
Even as thou wilt. And what? What happened?
And her daughter was made whole from that very hour.
Man, how cold is the Lord? How amazing is our God? So with that being said, brothers and sisters, we're going to start in-house, right? It starts at home, right? Maybe one day we might have an exception to the rule. We start with the people online. But we're going to keep it in the order, and we're going to start in-house with Brother Jonathan. So what you got, big bro? Yes, sir. Good job, Josh.
Thank you, brother. Actually, we have two questions, and they both deal with marriage, divorce, and remarriage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And for the first question, we are looking at Luke 13, verse 18.
Okay.
Matthew 5, verse 31 through 32, which deal with adultery.
Okay, right.
And then 1 Corinthians 7,
right.
12 through 14,
right.
which deals with the non-believer.
Right.
The question that we have is the person who was transgressed against, can they scripturally remarry?
Okay, the
With
person
not
that was
right.
the person that had the transgression done to them.
Correct.
Right.
So say the husband committed adultery and he divorces and leaves his wife, can she remarry?
Can she remarry?
And with 1 Corinthians, the husband or the wife that is the non-believer,
right,
can the believer remarry?
Okay. Okay, good. Those are huge. Those are very, very huge questions.
And then we have the follow-up question.
And then we got the follow-up. Okay. Okay. And see, that's why we're not going to be starting from inside the house no more. It's like, nah. So, okay, so what we going to do? Yo.
Oh, yeah, toilet paper.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man, somebody was pranking you or something? Mm-hmm. All right.
Good luck, brother.
It's all good. So now, what we gonna do is go to those spots, and we got to check it out. But before we do that, let's actually start with the foundation in the Old Testament. Excuse me. Let's go back to Deuteronomy and see how it was originally. And because this is actually the basis of the remarriage. And let's see what the Bible says and how it went down. Right? That's what we want to do. Okay. So what we want to do is, matter of fact, Yeah, what we're going to do is Deuteronomy 24. And then we're going to go back to the other law and look at it in Leviticus. Right? So that's where we're going to start it off at. And then we'll get to the meat of the scriptures that Brother Jonathan pointed out. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Deuteronomy 24 and verse 1. What did it say?
When a man had taken a wife and married her, and it comes to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanliness in her.
Uncleanness in her. What happened?
Then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house.
And send her out of his house. See, that's what I was talking about earlier, right? That is the way that it's supposed to be. But then again, we got to realize that things are out of whack, because a lot of times, right? I mean, you look at Dr. Dre, you know, and his divorce that he went through. You look at Kanye West, right? And these are some of the most successful. You look at Nas and Khalees. I'm saying these because everybody would know these, you know, and you see how not only are they taking the houses, right? They taking the kids, but then there's alimony. There's child support, right? Off the chain. And that's why, unfortunately, in our community, we got a lot of sisters that they not married to no man, they married to the government. Because that is how you keep going back to our Q&A from 2 weeks ago. If you want to destroy your people, you start with the male. That is how you keep the destruction of the black family and the black home going, right? They furthering the affliction, like it says about Rome, right? And how they done us in, right? It's bad enough we lost, don't know who we are. That's why we need to go to the lost sheep first too. That's why we setting up, we planning to set up to start going to the hoods, right? And setting up, because we need to reach the people, right? This is just practice for the outside battle. When you step outside these doors, you are in Babylon. And you have to be prepared. And in Babylon, this whole system of even of divorce is upside down. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 2.
Verse 2.
And when she is departed out of his house.
It don't say she take the house, right? That's how you know that this is not, they, you know, a lot of women and a lot of people like to scream patriarchy, patriarchy. It's not. Because if it was, things like this would be set in place, not in favor to the woman. People don't even realize the dynamics, right? It's not a biblical patriarchy. Not here. And a biblical patriarchy is actually what you want. But they've made, you know, these feminists have made patriarchy out to be some bad thing. We were never equal to begin with.
Come on now, bro.
We were never equal to begin with. Bruh. Play your role. Play your position. The wide receiver is not the quarterback. The quarterback is the one making the plays, not the wide receiver. The man is the quarterback, brothers and sisters. That's the way it's supposed to be. You got a captain and you got the players under the captain. You got a manager and then you got the players under the manager. That's how this works. The Lord set up man to be the head, the CEO of the family. He makes the executive decision. That's why the most important thing for a woman and man to do is choose the right mate. And it's not easy in the day and age that we live in. That's why you have to wait on God, trust the Lord. Wait on God, trust the Lord, and do your best to make it work. That's what we're going to do, right? In your predicament. Now, again, there are exceptions in some cases, in extreme cases, right? There are exceptions in extreme cases. It says, and when she is departed out of his house, what does it say, Josh?
She may go and be another man's wife.
She may go and be another man's wife. Now, only after receiving the bill of divorcement. This is how it started. This isn't supposed to be the norm, but this is how it started. Right? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 3. And if the latter husband hate her, and
Look at
write her
this.
a bill of divorcement,
Goodness.
and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die.
Oh, or if he died, because that's the real true out. That should be for the Lord. Divorce and putting away all of that really should not be. You know what I'm saying? Because he did not create. He said what God put together, let no man put or break asunder. Asunder means split. So splits shouldn't really be the case, because marriage is supposed to be forever. Just like, think about us to the Lord. We were never supposed to divorce the Lord, brothers and sisters. We went into a covenant with the Lord that was supposed to be an eternal covenant. So that's what marriage is supposed to be. But the world is so messed up, you got divorces in the truth now, when both of them in the truth. Wow. Let alone, one person, that's more understandable when the other person's not, because the unbelieving can depart. In the book say, let them depart. You're not bound to bondage in that matter. But the way that the Lord had Moses set up divorce in the beginning, this is how it went. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and listen how it's coming from the man to the woman. That's the flow of this thing. That's what we read, right? Or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, then what?
Her former husband.
So this is about remarriage, right? Because remember, now she can be another man's wife if she has the bill of divorce. But what happens to the first guy that gave her the first bill of divorce? What does it say about that?
Her former husband would send her away, may not take her again to be his wife.
Wow. So how many times have you heard about a situation where a couple splits up, gets married to somebody else, but then their second marriage doesn't work, so they get back together, and everybody says that, oh, that was true love. They found their way back to each other. That's true love. No, that's actually an abomination. That was never supposed to be, right? The Lord said no. It says her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. Why? After what?
After that she is defiled.
After that she is defiled. She's already been defiled, bro, because that really wasn't supposed to be in the first place. Go ahead.
For that is abomination before the Lord.
See, that's an abomination. Go ahead.
And thou shalt not cause the land to sin.
Wow, you will be causing the land to sin if you do that. Right? You will be causing the land to sin if you do that. So that would be a sin. Go ahead.
Which the Lord thy God caused.
Giveth
thee for an inheritance.
For an inheritance. That was the promised land. Right? Now check it. Keep going. It's not over.
When a man hath taken a new wife.
When a man had taken a new wife. So wait a minute. So a man can take a new wife. Okay. Go ahead.
He shall not go out to war. Neither shall he be charged with any business.
Look at that. So when you're newly married, what is he trying to say? Keep reading, Josh.
But he shall be free at home 1 year.
Free at home 1 year to do what?
And shall cheer up his wife, which he had taken.
Okay, so that's another thing in marriage, right? You want to do that, right? Unfortunately, I had a situation which it was kind of like the opposite of this. I had to leave, and unfortunately now I can see why, me leave. I was real new into the word, right? But that's when I ended up traveling in order to try to get established for my wife, for our family, right? Because I had to go where the opportunity was at, and I had a good opportunity, right? But I left. And that was up to her though, because I left and she cheated. She went out, So it couldn't work. See, the thing is, not everybody is as strong as other individuals, and especially the woman being the weaker vessel. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be, right? Because if it was, she wouldn't have did that, right? Because I didn't go out and mess with nobody else, so she could have did the same thing. But I could see why it says to be there for that first year, right? That's just a side note. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to the book of Leviticus. We want to go to the book of Leviticus. And again, it's another 21. Leviticus 21. And we just looking at the source. Let's pick it up at verse 1, bro.
And the Lord said unto Moses, speak unto the priests, the sons of Aaron, and say unto them, there shall none be defiled for the dead among his people.
Okay, so who's speaking? The Lord. Let's skip down to verse 6.
They shall be holy unto their God.
Well, and this is speaking specifically about the priests, right? The sons of Aaron, the Levites. That's why we in the book of Leviticus, right? They shall be holy unto their God. Go ahead.
And not profane the name of their God.
Not profane the name of their God. Go ahead.
For the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and the bread of their God, they do offer, therefore they shall be holy.
They shall be holy. So the Lord's not playing with this holiness. Now what? Go ahead.
They shall not take a wife that is a whore.
They shall not take a wife that is a whore. But a regular man and a non-Levite actually could take a wife that was a whore. And nowadays, the world is so bad, that most of the wives that we take are whores. Because they're not virgins. For the most part. So if you could find a virgin, if you could find a virtuous woman, right, that's far above rubies. But that's rare. Look, it was rare when it was written, when Lemuel told her son, because Solomon, everybody keeps saying Solomon wrote Proverbs 30. No, that was a letter from Lemuel's mother to Lemuel about women. So he was getting game from a woman. A woman was telling him about what a virtuous woman is, a real virtuous woman, who said even back then their price was far above rubies. That's rare, brothers and sisters. So you know that it's pretty much scarce in this generation. Because my eyes see a lot of different things. And you got very, 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 very wicked women in this generation calling themselves virtuous women. You got feminists. You got feminists and women that hate God and hate man calling themselves a virtuous woman. That's how far we are from it today. Right? So it says, they shall not take a wife that is a whore or what?
Or profane.
Uh-huh.
Neither shall they take a woman put away.
Oh, neither shall they take a woman what?
Put away.
Put away.
From her husband.
From her husband. Why?
For he is holy unto his God.
For he is holy unto his God. Look at that. Now check it out in verse 13. Hey, Kev might be read verse 13. Go ahead.
And he shall take a wife in her virginity.
In her virginity. I might know what tribe my bro from. Go ahead.
A widow or a divorced.
Look at that, because we're talking about remarriage, right? We talking about divorce and remarriage, right? First of all, he couldn't take a woman that was put away from her husband. Now it's saying in 13, and he shall take a wife in her virginity. Wow. So that's how holy these Levites had to be. Because remember, we a nation of priests, but the Levites were the priests for the priests. It says a widow or divorced woman or profane or an harlot, these shall he not take, but he shall take a virgin of his own people to wife. And it even had to be of his own people, right? Because remember, a lot of times you start first, home, right? So now, what I want us to do is, let's actually go to the book of Luke. Before we go to Luke 13, let's go to Luke 16. Before we go to Luke 13, let's go to Luke 16. Hey, all right, boss man. Already know. Huh? Oh, nah, I know, bro. I wasn't calling you over here. Everybody want to see you. It's like, nah, peace, bro. Much love, my bro. Yeah, peace. Safe travels back, man. Yes, sir. All right. Luke. What's up? You straight?
Yeah, I don't know. What's up with me?
Luke 16. Luke 16. And verse, Luke 16, and actually let's hit verse 18. But hold on. Luke 16, and let's hit 18, because we're not Levites. Right? I mean, Kev might. Luke 16 and verse 18. Go ahead.
Whosoever putteth away his wife.
Whoa, wait a minute. Whosoever putteth away his wife and do what?
And married her. And married another committed adultery. And whosoever married her that is put away from her husband committed adultery.
Okay, right. So in my Bible, under the column of description, this would say divorce forbidden, marriage sacred, right? And there's been some contention about whether putting away and divorce are two different things or not. Right? There's been a lot of contention around that. And I'll say for the ICOJ, what is taught here at the ICOJ is that putting away and divorce is one and the same. There's another line of thinking that will say that putting away and divorce are different, and that putting away is not divorce. But over here at the ICOJ, because we know the importance of marriage, right? We know that, hey, putting away was just the step in the divorce, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. You separating. And we know the generality is that the Lord did not want the two to be separate if he joined them together in the first place. So this is considered divorce right here. So whosoever putteth away his wife and marrieth another, that's why, hey, the Lord doesn't like adultery. So you need to have your own wife, and a wife needs to have her own husband. And whosoever marrieth her that is put away from her husband committeth adultery. But we always know that it's exceptions to the rule, right? Because we looked at the exceptions. So we know that we're going to read, is that in Luke 13, Brother Jonathan?
No, you quoted it right. It was Luke 16. I mean, I said it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Luke 16.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now what we can do, that's perfect because you said it. That's actually in Matthew 5.
Right.
Where we're going to go to and show you the reason where a man can put away or divorce his wife, right? We're going to actually look at the reason, right? Because this is showing you, this is pretty much telling you, in my mind, that they didn't have any good reason to do so, right? So now, if you didn't have no good reason to put her away, that's technically still, she technically still belongs to that man, right? She technically still belongs to that man. So that's what we're going to teach. That's how we're going to teach it, right? So let's look at Matthew 5. Let's look at Matthew 5. And then we'll go to 1 Corinthians 7. Matthew 5. And I believe Matthew 19 as well. But yes, we're going to pick it up straight at 31. Because as we see what we read in the Bible, right? I know you might have dire circumstances and whatnot. But what we read in the Bible is that the man is the one who is in control of whether that woman gets put out or not. It's not the other way around in the Bible, right? So we just gonna read what we read, right? So pick it up at 31.
Verse 31.
Yep.
But I say unto you.
No, Matthew 5.
Yep.
That's 32.
It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement.
Okay, so what we have to realize that this is the Lord in the flesh who gave Moses the authority to give the people, the men in particular, the bill of divorcement. This is the Lord is the one, is the lawgiver. So he gave that law back in the day, but he came to magnify the law and shine light on the true and more perfect way. Just like he told you that it has been said that if you lay down with a woman that's married to another man, you committed adultery. But now it got magnified to the point where even if you just lust after her in your mind, you've already committed adultery. Because it starts in your mind. The act of it won't take place if it's not in your mind to begin with. It can't take place because thought precedes action. Right? So it has been said, now we looking at divorce though, because he's magnifying, he's elevating all of it. It had been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. That's what we just read back in the day, right? Go ahead, bro.
But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication.
Oh, wait a minute. So putting away his wife, putting away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement if you're putting away your wife. So putting away is part of the divorce. So that's why we teach that putting away and divorce is one and the same, because giving them the right of divorce is actually putting them away. So putting away and divorce, we look at it as one and the same, right? But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, that means you would give them the writing of divorcement, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. So that's what we just read in Luke, right? In Luke 16. See, the exception is if she commit adultery, brothers and sisters. That means that she sleeps with somebody. I mean, fornication, I'm sorry. Fornication is bigger than just sleeping. It's smaller, but it's bigger. If you see what I'm saying. Because fornication don't have to be adultery. Fornication can be anything illicit, sexually illicit, that you shouldn't be doing, that you should only be doing with your spouse, your husband. Yes. So even kissing, you kissing another man inappropriately, that's room for putting away divorce. A man can do that. And a man should do that. A man should do that. Because you think taking them back is gonna work? It's not gonna work. 9 times out of 10, if you're dealing with the truth, because they dealing with the evil spirit, for them to do that in the first place, that means they don't honor the Most High. It's not gonna work. Trust me, I know. It's not gonna work. And we see that in the Bible. If you go back, Josh,
Yeah.
you can't fall asleep, bro.
I know I'm
You can't
listening.
fall asleep. No, you can't do that, bro.
I don't know what's up with me. It's a light.
So look. So if you go back to Judges 19, that man, was it a Levite? Bruh, how was it a Levite if they weren't supposed to take? Okay, he took a concubine. Okay, that means she must have been good to begin with. He took a concubine, right? And she played the harlot on him, right? And guess what he did? He took her back. But guess what ended up happening to her? She ended up getting raped by faggots and chopped up into 12 pieces. It's not gonna work. Get rid of them and don't bring them back. Get rid of them and don't bring them back. That's what Joseph was about to do to Mary. And they weren't even married yet. They were just betrothed, engaged. And that's how you know. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. He wasn't having that, right? But even if it's any form of fornication, you're not supposed to have that, right? So that's because that's not the move, right? So now, it has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. So that just shows you how serious marriage is. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. That's why the Lord don't like divorce. Because it pollutes the whole land. Everybody's sleeping around. He don't like that, brothers and sisters. He don't like divorce. That's what it say. Right? Now, obviously, you're going to have cases where it doesn't work. Right? Nobody can force anybody to do anything. So you're going to have cases that unfortunately don't work. But from the beginning, it should not have been. Right? So let's read it in Matthew 19, and then we'll go to 1 Corinthians 7, since we're in Matthew. But that's the only way. And if that woman commits adultery to that man, of course, that man is free to take another wife. We looked at remarriage even back in the Old Testament, right? Now, if your wife plays the harlot on you, then why would you be bound? Who are you bound to? You're not bound to her. That's the time you can let her go. So of course you can remarry. And plus, I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, but a man can have multiple women anyway. So it don't matter if you still married to her. I don't care what the world tells you. I don't care what the world says, right? Because we in the world, but not of the world. Mm-hmm. So I don't care what the world has to say. I don't care what Western society has to say. Western society has failed you. Western society has turned you into homosexuals, adulterers, fornicators, idolaters, pagans. You think I care what the world thinks? The divorce rate in the West is 50%. That's a failed state of affairs, literally. You think I care what you have to say about marriage? Hell to the nah. You can go to hell with that. For real. Let God be true and every man a liar. Every man. I do not care. And the funny thing is, you go to places where, because, hey, this is how society has been built. This is how civilization has been built. So other cultures and nations, they practice this thing freely. It's just the West that's indoctrinated your mind and got you all messed up. Babylon, they the one that even changed the law and made monogamy the standard, just like they made the Sabbath the standard because they thought to change times and laws. So get out of here with that mess. You a Babylonian. You a Roman. That's a Western state of mind. I don't care what you think or what you say, because I'll prove it to you out of the Bible and out of history that even after Christ came and went, this is how you know the law is not done away with. We still got to keep the dietary law. Well, did you know he gave you the law of multiple wives? Did you know that? He gave you that law. He regulated that law. The Lord. And that's why we can read to you out of the Bible and out of history that even after Christ, you had Israelites, Hebrews, Jews had more than one wives. So how can you say that it just changed under the new covenant? That's cap. The dietary law didn't change under the new covenant. The feast days didn't change under the new covenant. So what are y'all talking about? Y'all just want to believe what you want to believe, and you want to go along with the flow and do what's, I guess, is popular with popular opinion. Bump popular opinion, bro. What's greatly esteemed in the world is an abomination to God. What do you think is better? Multiple wives? A man having multiple wives that he's taking care of? If you can't take care of them, you don't need to be having no wives. You can't take care of them. But think about what's better in the sight of God, right? Because this same Western society will tell you that 2 men can get married and 2 women can get married, but then they'll turn around and say a man having more than one wife is wrong? What? So what God says is okay, you condemn. But what God says is an abomination, you say is okay. Bump the world, bro. I don't care what the world thinks. And my thing is, what's better though? Already, bruh. What's better? You got something to say? Go ahead.
They allow women to go ahead and practice sport. Get with multiple men, so that's polyamory.
Exactly. And that's hypocritical.
Yeah.
And let alone, you got fornication all over the landscape. And there's no law against it. There's no law against fornication in this society, against adultery in this society. It runs rampant, it flows freely. But God says he's not about that. So what's better? What's the better option? For a man to take care of more than one wife, or for a man to be married to one woman and committing fornication all over the place? Obviously, it's better for him to marry that woman instead of trying to sneak around, commit fornication, right? Because now all you doing is setting yourself up for the lake of fire. All you doing is causing more destruction and pollution in the world. And that's a problem. That's lust. That's not love. If you married them, that would be love. Right? It told you when a man take a new wife. It didn't say his first wife. It said, we just read it, when a man take a new wife. So what about his old wife? Yeah. It's all over the Bible. Old Testament, New Testament. right? It said he take a new wife, he should be with her for a year, right? The old wife, she already good, she's secured. Now you want to secure this new wife, but we lost sight of all of that. We lost sight of our culture, our history, our language. We don't know who we are. We brainwash, we deceive, we think like Gentiles. Gentiles are the one that changed the polygamous law in civil law and made monogamy the standard. And you know why they did that? To stop us from producing. Because that's how we got down all throughout history. And that's how we stayed great and big in numbers. But they don't want that. That's why they did that. That's why they have birth control. That's why they had abortion. And who was targeted the most? Us. Because we the ones under the curse. So that's just learning something on your way to learning something. Mahafa 21. Check it out. Watch it. Go watch it. It's on. I should have it on the Israelite Identity playlist on ICOJ DC. All right. Everything's on there, y'all. Keep remembering that. People be asking me, what about this? What about? Go to the YouTube page. That's why I put all that time to make it. Use it. Go to it. That's what it's for. Matthew 19. Matthew 19. And shout out to Brother Nez for shouting that Mahafa 21 out, man, because that thing will change your life with the amount of knowledge that is not so public to the world. That is like a hidden secret agenda that's out in the open right now, because abortion's in the news now. It's becoming more, people learning more about Margaret Sanger. And what you should do is go see who won the Margaret Sanger Awards year after year after year after year, and you'll see what the true agenda of these Democrats are. Go see, and you'll see your true enemies. They got the Margaret Sanger Award, brothers and sisters. And the same woman that y'all wanted in office, Hillary Clinton, was the same one that kept winning that award. But y'all want to be Democrat. We are a lost sheep, aren't we? We are literally the lost sheep. The black sheep and the lost sheep. But anyway, learning something on your way to learning something. We in Matthew 19, and then we go into 1 Corinthians 7, right? And now we going to pick it up at verse 3.
The Pharisees also came up unto him.
Okay, so the Pharisees are trying to trick the Lord. Go ahead.
Tempting him, and saying unto him, it is lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause.
See, that's the problem. For every cause. That's what we read about in Luke 16. They was just doing it for anything. But that's why we read Matthew 5, and it said, except it be for fornication. That's the clause, right? So they was trying to do it for anything. You can't do it for anything. And understand who's doing the divorcing. The male, right? Is it lawful for a man? It's not even talking about a woman. Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And it's not every cause. Let's see what the cause is. Go ahead.
And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read?
Right.
That he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?
So it's male and female. It's male first. That's why he's the one that has the authority to do this. Go ahead.
And said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave unto his wife.
Right, and they what?
And they twain shall be one flesh.
See, that's also unfortunately the problem in Babylon, in the system, in the ghetto, right? That's unfortunately the problem, that a lot of men aren't able to leave their father's mother's house, right? Because, hey, we under the curses. It's hard. Economic oppression, right? We the last hired, first fired. So it be hard. A lot of times it be the woman who had the house. That's hard. That's not easy to deal with. right? Because now she thinks she running things. Make her mad, or she get mad at you. You don't even have to make her mad. She just get mad at you. Women find any reason to get mad, right? And then she kick you out. That's not the way it was supposed to be. It was always the other way around, but now, hey, we read in the Bible today, in Isaiah 3, that a woman was going to rule over the man, right? Because everything out of whack. When you take away God's law, you take away order, perfect order. So that's the problem in today's society. It say, put to a man to put away his wife for every cause, and he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Go ahead.
Wherefore they are no more twain.
They're no more two, right? And so now somebody might be like, oh, well, Josh, I thought you just said a man can have multiple wives. How can he be one when it's more than one? How can it say the two be made one? It don't say multiple be made one. I could hear somebody saying that now. I bet you somebody didn't even think about it. And maybe like now they're like, yeah, I got you. Well, now I'm going to use that as an argument. They wasn't even thinking about it, right? But I think about what you're not even thinking about. Because, hey, we're not doing our own will. This is the Spirit. Now, I'll say, in that case, if anybody wanted to use that argument, it's many ways around that, but I put it as simple, as plain as this, right? Who we supposed to be married to?
Christ.
The Lord, Christ, right? Now, it's a few different people in this room, but we've all made a decision, a covenant to say I do to the Lord, right? And he's married to all of us, brothers and sisters. We're his bride collectively. And it's not like he's incapable of showing love to more than one, right? I can even show you, let's pause real quick and go to Jeremiah 3. Game over, bruh. Let alone it's legalized in God's law. Let alone. If you've seen it, if you see King David, and King David's fault was not that he had multiple women, and King David is going to be the king over Israel when the Lord returns, how can it be a sin? And that wasn't his fault. He didn't get punished for that. The kid didn't get punished for that. The kid didn't die over him having multiple wives. The kid died for him committing adultery. So now in this society, they're actually promoting adultery and they're forbidding multiple wives. That's just creating more adultery. You're creating the problem. You're creating death. And that's what people want to believe? Nah, you got that. That's on you. That's on you. I'm going to stick with the word. Jeremiah 3. Let's show you. Jeremiah 3. Jeremiah 3. And let's pick it up. Let's pick it up at verse 1. Check this out.
They say if a man put away his wife, and she go from him,
right,
and become another man's, shall he return unto her again?
Okay, wait a minute. We read this earlier. What's the answer? No. A big fat no. Go ahead.
Shall he return unto her again?
Right.
Shall not that land be greatly polluted?
Yeah, see, because it's an abomination. That's defiling the land. Again, we got all this adultery in the land today, in the landscape today, in America. Right? You even got girls, parents literally prostituting their daughters, which the Lord said, if you do that, the whole land will fall into whoredom. And you know that it has. You know, before Kanye said that he was going to stop making worldly music and only make Christian music, right? Or music that tries to glory the Lord in the best way he knows. He had a song called, the hook was, "You're such a effing hoe, I love it." That means the whole world has fallen to whoredom, like the Lord warned you, because people are prostituting their daughters. That's all you see on social media, right? So now let's think about what the Lord is saying, because the Lord is comparing the physical relationship to a man divorces a woman to us and his relationship with us as an entire nation made up of many individuals, right? That's the whole point. So keep reading, Josh.
Shall not that land be greatly polluted?
So now this is the spiritual aspect that is concerning Israel. Go ahead.
But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers.
Look at that. Thou hast played the harlot with many lovers. Thou hast played the harlot with many lovers. Who is he talking about? Israel, the nation of Israel. Go ahead. And look what he's saying. He's going out the norm. This is another exception to the rule, because technically you weren't supposed to go back to the man that put you away, but God put us away. This is spiritual exception to the rule. Again, what the Lord saying he going to do though?
Yet return again to me.
Wow.
Saith the Lord.
Look at that. So he went against his own law, but the law that he implemented was for man. This is between us and God. This is a different playing field. Remember, God is not accounted for anything he wants to do. But we are. So it's different. He can do whatever he want to do. And that's what he want to do. He want us to return again to him. We had all that in one verse. Go back to Matthew 19. So that shows you that, hey, you could love many and you can love one, right? We got one of the kings I could read you about. He had about 8, 9, 10 wives. That's probably how many King David had. And then he had about like 10 concubines. Might have had like 18 concubines actually. And a concubine is like a lower wife, but you still wife her up, right? Now I can read you about another king who had about 8, 9, 10 wives. And he even told you out of all those wives, who was his favorite wife. So that just goes to show, brothers and sisters, it is what it is, right? So anyway, we back at Matthew 19, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick up where we left off. So now, verse 6, it says, wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder. Now read, bro. What did it say? Verse 7.
They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement?
And to do what?
And to put her away.
And to put her away. So it's one and the same, right? The writing of divorcement was so you can put her away. And now we're going to find out why the Lord gave it to us in the first place, why he gave it to man in the first place. Go ahead.
He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts,
wow,
suffered you to put away your wives.
Wow, it was only because of the hardness of their hearts. And if a woman was messed up, right? All right, peace. Already, moms. Y'all take care. You gonna do that? All right, bet. Do that, bro.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Much love, fam.
Hi, bro.
Yes, sir. Peace. All right, so let's get back to it. Yeah, much love, family. It says, they say unto him, why did Moses then command to give writing of divorcement and to put her away? He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. The hardness of your hearts suffered you to put away your wives. Right? But, what does it say? What does it say? Finish it out.
But from the beginning, it was not so.
From the very beginning, when he set up marriage, that was never to be the case. That was never to be the case. That was never to be the case, brothers and sisters. Now, I get it. Sometimes things get crazy. sometimes things get beyond your control, beyond your desire, and sometimes it's just a living hell. If your life is on the line, it might be a good idea so you don't go crazy and kill somebody. It might be a good idea to go your separate ways, because you got to think about what's the lesser of the two evils, right? You kill your wife, right? That's not it. Right. And for a woman, I can understand that there's some psychos out here, right? But what you want to try to do is make it work, because a woman was not given this. We ain't read that once, right? But I do understand things can get crazy, and if it gets that crazy, it's best for that woman to be alone too, for her own safety, right? And that's what we're going to read about in 1 Corinthians 7, if it be possible. It might not be possible. So we got to keep that in mind too, right? We got to know that sometimes there's going to be exceptions to the rule. We're going to know that sometimes it's not possible for it to work. Let's go ahead and finish this, and then we'll go one more spot, and then 1 Corinthians 7, because we got to show to you that sometimes it's not possible, right? So it says,
Verse 9.
yeah, but let's start at verse 8 again. Go ahead.
He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not
so. Even if you want to say it's different, right? It's one and the same at the end of the day. Suffer you to put away your wives, but from the beginning is not so. It was not so. Because that's low key. That's low key how you know. Because putting away, dang, that's crazy. The Lord's showing me something now. Putting away was never a good thing by itself, right? Putting away was never legal by itself, right? It was never legal. What was the legal thing was the actual divorce, right? But this says that putting away, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives. So what was the putting away your wives? That was the divorce. That's for if you want to say they're different, right? That's what Moses allowed them to do. It's not like, it just shows you that it's one and the same. Putting away and divorce is one and the same, right? But from the beginning, it was not so. That showed you that. Keep going. And I say unto you what? Verse 9.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication.
Oh, except it be for fornication. Except it be for fornication. Go ahead.
And shall marry another.
Right.
Committeth adultery.
Yeah, so that's adultery. So if they didn't fornicate, and you put them away, and you say, hey, you go be with somebody else, then hey, you committed more adultery, brothers and sisters, because technically she's still married. Because the Lord magnified the law. He magnified the law just like he did with adultery starting in your mind. He magnified it, right? So you have times where you can, where that woman If that woman did not fornicate, then what you want to try to do is make it work. And that's what we about to read in 1 Corinthians 7. But first, what we're going to do is finish this out and go to Romans 12. Go ahead and read verse 10, bro.
His disciples say unto him,
Look, because marriage is not what most people think. Go ahead.
if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry.
Look at that. They knew how hard marriage was going to be, because that's what they were doing. They were putting away their wives for any cause. That's what the people that knew the law were doing, brothers and sisters. And they got it. So imagine how much more so for a woman. Because you don't read about the women having this say so in the Bible. You don't read about that in the Bible. I know today's society is different, right? And everything's jacked up. But you don't read about that in the Bible. So now, let's go to Romans 12. And then we got some questions.
You had like two.
Two questions. All right.
Look over there.
All right. Now we'll check on the.
Can I use the bathroom real quick?
After we finish this question.
All right.
Yeah. We still in the middle of this question. Romans 12. I just want to show you something that it's not always possible for things to work out. Right? Literally. So now, let's go back to Romans 12 and read, let's start at verse 14. Romans 12, and you're going to pick it up at verse 14, bruh. Let's go.
Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not.
Look at that. Look at that. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. So don't try to do evil to your enemies because they did evil to you. Right? We did a whole lesson on mercy last week. Go ahead.
Rejoice with them that do rejoice. And weep with them that weep.
Yeah, so have sympathy on people. Right? You don't have to have sympathy with everybody, but you do have to treat everybody with respect and try your best to show them love even if they don't love you. Now that don't mean you have to let them in your space, and you don't have to be a foolish person if a dog bite. You know that that's a dog. So don't put yourself at risk, but that don't mean that you hate somebody. Right? Let the Lord handle all of that. Right? You want to be blameless before the Lord. You want to hold your integrity before the Lord. Go ahead.
Be of the same mind on toward another.
One toward another.
One toward another.
So that's unity, right? Go ahead.
Mind not high things.
Mind not high things, right? Go ahead.
But condescend to men of low estate.
Men of low estate. Be humble. This is a really important one. Go ahead.
Be not wise in your own conceit.
Be not wise in your own conceits. Right? Now what? What does it say?
Recompense to no man evil for evil.
Right. Don't trade evil for evil. Don't fight fire with fire. Right? Try to put that fire out with the water of the word. Go ahead.
Provide things honest in the sight of all men.
Yeah, honesty is a big thing. You got a whole bunch of liars out here. Go ahead.
If it be possible.
If it be possible. That's why we came here. It's not always possible. But if it be possible, what?
As much as lieth in you.
Do what?
Live peaceably with all men.
Live peaceably with all men. It's not always possible though. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 7. It's our last place. Alright, bet.
1 Corinthians
7. Now, we got to deal with the unbeliever. We got to deal with the unbeliever. Verse 1, bro, let's go.
Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Wow. He's speaking from in an instance where somebody was widowed, right? Or divorced. Somebody that's single, let me just say it like that. Somebody that's single, right? Because we know that God didn't set it up to be like this, but that don't mean it's not going to happen. We know that God didn't set up women to divorce and to separate, but we know that it's 50% of divorce of this country is ending in divorce, and divorce wasn't supposed to be from the beginning, right? Really, man or woman, unless the woman committed fornication, right? But look at the percentage of divorce, it's 50%. So what can we do? The whole earth is defiled. So unfortunately, hey, even though it's not supposed to be this way, unfortunately, things get this way. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. It's unfortunate, I know. So he was saying now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is good for a man. Why do they always start with the man? Because the man is the head of the house. It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Right? What he's saying is, it's good really if you could be chaste. That's a form of marriage. Let me reiterate the fact that a man can have more than one wife. That's a marital status in the Bible. Monogamy is also a marital status in the Bible. And guess what? Being a eunuch or practicing chastity is a marital status. That's the choice to choose not to be married. He says that because then you can focus on doing his will to the best of your ability without distraction. Right? Monogamy is the option for one man, one woman. And polygamy is the option for one man, many wives. And that's the only way it rolls. It rolls in one direction. It's not a wife can have many husbands. You don't know. So if you go around thinking that, that's not in the Bible, so it's wrong. So you always want to stick with the Bible and what the Bible says. That's why everything we've been reading is with the man. I don't care what society says, right? So nevertheless, what? Nevertheless, because not everybody can be a eunuch, not everybody can be chaste, practice chastity. Just like having one wife isn't for everybody. I'm sorry. It's just not for everybody. Just like having many wives isn't for everybody. So don't try to make it like, oh, as soon as you say multiple wives is a problem. No. Because what does it say right here, bro?
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
Look at that. So, and the only difference is that we know a man can have more than one, but the woman can only have one. Woman was made for man, not the other way around. Right? You can even tell by the biology tells you that. How our anatomy is tells you that. Right? If you think about it, right? A woman has an entrance. That's only supposed to be for her husband, one husband. Think about it. All right, so anyway, it says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife. That's why I know that if that woman commit fornication, right, you only supposed to be with one man. You gotta bounce. You gotta bounce. Why don't it say that for the man? Because if the man take a woman that is a maid, that is not betrothed, and commits fornication or lies with her because she wasn't married to you, it says you shall surely endow her to be your wife. So that's giving, if you understand the logistics of the scripture, that's showing you that a man can have more than one. That's why it said if a woman commit fornication, she got to go. That's the license that you have to kill, so to speak. She's dead to you now. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband do what?
Render unto the wife due benevolence. And likewise also the wife unto the husband.
Unto the husband. Go ahead.
The wife hath no power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath no power of his own body, but the wife.
Right.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer.
Oh, see, if you're going to separate for a time, that has to be consensual. So a woman shouldn't be up and leaving and saying, I'm separating, right? Because that's supposed to be consensual, right? It said, defraud ye not one of the other. And of course, I'm speaking in a manner where the two people know the truth and they live in the truth. Defraud ye not one of the other, except it be with consent, right? For a time that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer. So if a woman decides she just wants to go out and do that on her own and separate for whatever reason, if the man doesn't agree to that, then she's out of order. That's what that's showing you right here. Because even though we're talking about, you know, relations, right? It's not only talking about relations. It's showing you the nature of the marriage in general. Man, is it getting hot? Hold on. So yeah. So now, defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent. So that you should understand that that is a mindset. Whatever you're going to do with your partner, everything should be in consent, brothers and sisters. You should not be stepping out on your wife without her knowing. Even if you want another wife, husbands, in the truth that's righteous, because if you're not righteous and you can't take care of one and you can't take responsibility the way you're supposed to, then you don't even need to be thinking about having another wife. Because all it is a responsibility. All it is duty, right? Especially if you can't maintain one, right? You don't even need to be thinking about two. That don't make no sense. You're setting yourself up for failure, right? But even in a man having more than one wife, it should be in consent. It should be in consent. Once you both are in the truth, it should be in consent. You shouldn't have to go behind her back. That's not being a man. That is not being a man. You should not have to lie to a woman, because that tells me you a sucker. You scared. Why you scared? Why can't you just be straight up with her? I do not lie to my wife because I do not fear my wife. Do not fear nothing but God. That's how we have to be, brothers and sisters. Defraud ye not one another, except it be with consent, for a time that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, and Satan tempt you not for your incontinency, right? Because that's how the devil will do. That's how the devil will do. That's why you want to do everything in consent and in decency and in order. Go ahead, Josh.
But I speak this by permission and not of commandment.
Oh, he's speaking this by permission and not of commandment. What is this permission that he has from the Lord to say this? Go ahead.
Verse 7. For I would that all men were even as I myself.
Wow.
But every man has his proper gift of God.
Right.
One after this manner, and another after that.
See, every man has different purposes and different gifts. That's how I know that those three marital statuses aren't all for everybody. Chastity isn't for everybody, monogamy isn't for everybody, and polygamy isn't for everybody. Just like people want to, if you want to just bash polygamy, you can bash all three of these things, because you can do polygamy wrong. You could be out here trying to prostitute your quote unquote wives and do it wrong. But guess what? You can do monogamy wrong too. You can say that you're married to one, but you could be going out the back door. That's doing monogamy wrong. So don't just point the finger at polygamy. And guess what? You can do chastity wrong. Look at the Catholic Church. They claim to be nuns. They claim to be, priests and virgins or not being married. But what they end up doing be sleeping around with doing homosexual acts with little boys. So you can do all three forms of marriage wrong. So don't try to make one dark and everything else light. No. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord. He wished everybody was like him, but that's not for everybody. Read verse 8.
I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as
He
I.
said it's good because, man, a lot of marriage don't just fail. A lot of marriage is hard. Marriage can work, but it works with hard work. Go ahead.
But if they cannot contain.
See, but if you can't contain, see, it's not for everybody. Again, all three are not for everybody. That's what the world needs to understand. Go ahead.
Let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn.
It is better to marry than to burn. It is better to marry than to burn. So if you can't contain with just one, it's better for you to marry two as well. Not just one, period. Because remember, all three of these are legal marital statuses in the eyes of God. Right? But now we're about to start getting into some differences, and we're going to start getting into some departing, some the marriage topic again. Right? Let's go. Keep reading.
And unto the married I command ye not, I, but the Lord.
So now this isn't by permission. This is from God. What does it say?
Let not the wife depart from her
Oh,
husband.
let not the wife depart from her husband. That's what it says. Let not the wife depart from her husband, because that's a wife's duty. And one of the greatest examples we have is in trusting in the Lord is with Abigail and Nabal. That's one of the greatest examples that we have. We saw how the Lord handled the situation for Abigail, and she operated in wisdom. So understand that that's the way that it should be. But I get that, hey, we live in wicked times. We live in wicked times. So what does it say in the word? If she does depart, what happens? This is especially when the two are in the truth. Right? Because remember, if the unbelieving depart, let them depart. Right? But if they're two in the truth, a woman shouldn't be departing for nothing, because it shouldn't be nothing that you can't work out, like we saw in the accountability lesson. So, and if she depart, what?
Let her remain unmarried.
Let her remain unmarried. You can't get with nobody else, because that's not divorce and putting away. None of that stuff was meant to be. Go ahead.
Or be reconciled to her husband.
Or be reconciled to her husband. That's the two options you have, sisters, if you want to do it right. And what?
And let not the husband put away his wife.
And he not supposed to put her away. He not supposed to put her away. He is not supposed to put her away. So brothers, unless it be for what? Fornication. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord.
Oh, so now he's going back to the permission. He's using his judgment. Right? So this is not the Lord speaking, this is him. What does it say?
If any brother hath a wife that believeth not.
Okay, and we have examples like that, right? Like Brother Nez, right? He's still married to his wife. Over 20 years, right? Unbelieving. This is his good judgment that he's using right here, right? If any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and what?
And she be pleased to dwell with him.
And she be pleased to dwell with him.
Let him not put her away.
Let him not put her away. So, you know what? That's even more sad to me, that you have couples in divorce, couples in the truth getting divorced, and women leaving and separating and all of that. Because if you have an unbelieving they can make it work, how come you can't make it work? That is a shame. Shame on you. Shame on you. Right? Big time, bruh. Real talk. Keep going.
Verse 13. And the woman which hath an husband, and believe not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him.
So it's the same thing, vice versa, on the other hand, on the other side, right? If the woman hath a husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, and let her not leave him. Why? Why would you say that if the two, aren't supposed to be equally yoked? If we're not supposed to be equally yoked with non-believers, why is he saying stay?
He still hates divorce.
Because he still hates divorce. He hates the separation, because from the beginning, it was not so. Whether it's putting away, whether it's divorce, I don't really care at this point. Because both of them should not be the case. Brothers and sisters. Both of them should not be the case. So you're supposed to make it work. Like the old song goes, it's cheaper to keep her. It's cheaper to keep her. And for the woman too, you could say that. It's cheaper for you to keep him. Because you got to pay a price if you don't have legal ramification. That's why you want to stick with the scripture, and that's it. Again, I know that there are rare instances. We're not talking about the rare instances. Sometimes things get really crazy. I get it. The Lord gets it, right? But you have to be true and honest with yourself if this is one of those rare instances. And you'll know if it is. It'll be life-threatening, right? But even, I'd like to remind sisters, right, that's still in a relationship, in a marriage, and they really going through it. You got to remember Abigail, right, and Nabal. Nabal, you want to talk about life-threatening, Nabal was about to get that whole house killed. And she was wise enough not to get her husband killed, but to actually save him. And she needed some saving, right? She wasn't a damsel in distress. She was a wife in distress. She was a wife in distress, and the Lord hears the cries of his people, brothers and sisters. So you have to learn to know what true strength is and to trust the Lord, right? This is for the people who are married, right? So now, that's how important it is. That is some spiritual, marital advice in staying together, even if they're an unbeliever. So now, verse 14, what did it say?
For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife.
Oh, the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and obviously vice versa. Go ahead.
And the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband.
Wow, Exodus 12 and the Passover is a very good example of that. Think about it. All the husband had to do if his wife didn't believe was put that blood on the doorpost and your whole house saved. Whereas she's a non-believer, she deserves to die, but now that she's with a man that did what God said, now your whole house is safe. That's how important it is having a man of God at the head of the house. Brothers and sisters, go ahead.
Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy.
Now are they holy.
But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God has called us to peace.
God has called us to peace. Well, say it again. Read 15 again. That's important.
But if the believing depart.
Pay attention. Read it again.
But if the unbelieving
there you
depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God hath called us to peace.
Of course. So of course that means if they're leaving and they're unbelieving, then yes, of course you can get remarried because they've departed. It's like they've died. Okay? Go ahead. And this is under legal terms now. Not like the putting away for any cause. This is different. Right? So this is good spiritual marital advice. Go ahead.
For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband?
That's why you should try to make it work. But if it don't work, then it can't work. Go ahead.
Whether thou shalt save thy husband, or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? But as God hath distributed to every man, as the Lord hath called every one, so let him walk, and so ordain I in all churches.
And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much good. I mean, it keeps going. But I hope, Brother Jonathan, okay, praise God.
Yes.
Praise God, Brother Jonathan. All praises to the Most High God.
I'll ask my following question next time. Please go on, man.
Okay.
More than enough time on this. I appreciate it.
Okay, all praises, no problem. And I think they said we only had 2 questions, so we can jump back. Brother Sean, is there something on Facebook, or is it just YouTube?
Just YouTube.
Okay, that's perfect.
Facebook.
That,
Put Facebook up?
huh?
You want to put up Facebook? Do you want to put up Facebook?
It should be on Facebook, right?
It's on Facebook and YouTube.
Right. But no questions from Facebook, right?
No questions from Facebook.
Okay, good.
2 from YouTube.
All right, 2 from YouTube. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, Brother David. What's up, fam? Yeah, Josh doing his thing, Sister Tish. The General, hey, TJ, what it do? What's good, family? What up, sis? Know ya clap. What's up, sis? Peace, everybody. All right, so we got 2 questions. How do you maintain the fear of God from day to day? That's a really good question. Let's go to Joshua 1. Let's go to Joshua 1. Let's go to Joshua 1. Yep. Yeah. Going to Joshua 1, bruh. Joshua 1. And let's pick it up. The question, Josh, the first question is, how do you maintain the fear of God from day to day? All right, so that's what we're gonna talk about real quick. You gotta remember that, first of all, let's not start at Joshua 1. Let's start at Ecclesiastes. My bad, hold your place in Joshua 1. You got a bookmark right there. Yeah, hold your place in Joshua 1, y'all. We're coming back to Joshua 1. Let's start it in Ecclesiastes. First of all, you gotta understand something. You gotta understand something. You gotta understand something. Ecclesiastes. Dang. It's gonna start at 12, but we're gonna start at 1. Ecclesiastes 1. My bad. Ecclesiastes 1. And pick it up at verse 1.
The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity.
That's what you have to realize at the beginning, right? So you shouldn't have your stock in this world. Your stock should be, because this world is about to come to a halting crash. It's about to burn, right? It's headed to hell on skis. This world is about to be destroyed by God, just like it was thousands of years ago with the flood, right? And this is real, brothers and sisters, because all is vanity. So you should be afraid of that fact alone, right? You should be afraid of that fact alone. If you caught up in the vanity of this world, you're gonna die with the masses. That alone should give you great fear. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 3. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun?
Uh-huh.
One generation passeth away.
See, one generation passed away. So look, real quick. 150 years ago, there was a whole crop of different people that's not on the earth right now. A whole crop, just 150 years ago. All the people on the earth right now that you see were not on the earth, brothers and sisters. Just that short time ago. You got people that's like 120 years, right? Some people make it that long because there's exceptions. Because the average is 70, 80 due to sin, right? That's the average lifespan, 70, 80 in the Bible, right? Even with retirement, they know that this is a system. Man. John D. Rockefeller said he did not want a class and society of thinkers. He wanted a society and class of workers. And he's the one that created the original and main school board. So that's why everything's so monotonous and they got you working until you die. Because if you work until you die, you cannot think for yourself. You cannot find ways to start your own businesses. You cannot find the time to find the truth. Because all is vanity, vanity of vanity. All is vanity, saith the preacher. One generation passes away. And what else, bruh?
And another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever.
The earth abideth forever. The earth ain't going nowhere anytime soon. It's going to get cleaned up and destroyed and burnt. But it ain't going nowhere. Ain't that amazing that the Lord could drown the whole world and the world still be here? That he can burn the whole world, but the world still be here? It's amazing. And you should be afraid of that. Go ahead.
But the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down.
Look at that. So, wait a minute. Hold up. This is from the wisest man of all time, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to believe your eyes and you got to believe the Bible. Because they've been telling us that the earth orbits around the sun. They'll tell you that in school to this day, right? But that's not what the Bible says, and that's not what you see. You don't see the earth orbiting around the sun. You literally see the sun rising and setting. So that means that the sun orbits around the earth, brothers and sisters. That's what you can see. You can see it. And that's what it says right here. The sun also ariseth. We know it rises in the east, and the sun goeth down in the west. And hasteth. Look at that. It hasteth. That means it hurries up to his place where he arose. He's going back in a cycle, in a circle. So the earth isn't orbiting the sun. That is not what you see, and that is not what you read in the Bible. Don't let false science trick you. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 6. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full, unto the place from whence the rivers come.
Skip down to verse 10.
Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us.
Right.
There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. I, the preacher, the king of over Israel in Jerusalem.
Look at that. So we always talk about King Solomon being the wisest king, but he was the preacher. That made him the wisest preacher to ever live. Go ahead.
And I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail.
It is hard. Life is hard, right? And then you die, right? So that should scare you, knowing that how quick this life is, one generation after another. That should give you fear and reverence towards the Most High for even giving you breath, giving you a chance, because none of us deserve eternal life. We all deserve death, all the dirt you done did. So you shouldn't take any breath for granted. And with that breath that you have, because your time is always, like the Lord says in the book of John, then you need to take that, you need to take that seriously and reverence and fear the Most High. Go ahead.
Sore travail hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun.
Wow, he's seen all the works done under the sun. And if you want to learn about all the works done under the sun, read this Bible. Go ahead.
And behold, all is vanity.
All is vanity. And vanity leads to hell. So you need to learn the difference between vanity and wisdom. Go ahead.
And vexation of spirit.
Yeah, everything you do, even trying to have fun, takes work, takes stress. Even trying to plan, like we didn't plan some nice outings, some nice events. I tell you, it is stress, it is work, right? Even setting up for the feast, it is stress, it is work, it's vexation of spirit, right? But even though we have a great time, trust me, it's a lot. Go ahead.
That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered.
Cannot be numbered. Go ahead.
I commune with my own heart, saying, lo, I am come to get to great estate.
To great estate.
And have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem.
Wow, so you want to get some, you want to learn how to fear the Lord? What you need is wisdom. Because that's the exercising of knowledge, brothers and sisters. And that's the understanding how the practical aspect of knowledge and understanding, putting it into play in your own life through experience. And he had all the experience. So you want free game? Read the book of Ecclesiastes. Read the book of Proverbs. Go ahead, bruh.
And I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit.
Vexation of spirit. So don't be consumed and too overly concerned with the things of this world, because it's vexation of spirit, especially when you know the truth and you have knowledge, right? Go ahead.
For in much wisdom is much grief.
And much wisdom is much grief. Is much wisdom is much grief. Brothers and sisters, go ahead.
And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow.
Increaseth knowledge increases our see. Go ahead.
Chapter 2.
Oh, okay, no. Let's skip down to chapter 12 now. Chapter 12. And let's show you day in on day out why you should fear the Lord. This is why, and this is how, right? This is how, and this is why. This is the basis. Then we're gonna go back to Joshua 1, like we said. Go ahead. We're gonna start at I'm sorry, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and actually, yes, pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them.
I have no pleasure in them.
While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, and the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened.
Yeah, because your sight goes as you get older, right? So the Lord's like, look, man, you need to seek the Lord as early on as possible. Right? Go ahead, bro.
And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low.
Because you can't even hear that well when you get older. So you got to try to serve the Lord in the days of your youth when you can actually do some things that can be accounted for you, right? Before you get too old. Right? Go ahead.
And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low.
Because it's like you got the radio on low, right? Or your speaker, your AirPods. It's like they in your ear, but it's like you can't turn them up, and you need to turn them up because your hearing gets worse as you get older. That's what it's saying. So he's saying serve God in your youth when you don't have to worry about all of this vexation of your body, and you can actually do something for the Lord. Now skip down to verse 8. We're going to see it again.
Vanities of vanities.
Right.
Said the preacher.
Uh-huh.
All is vanity.
All is vanity. So you don't need to be focused on anything else but serving God. Skip down to verse 13 and let's see why. What is our whole duty as man in this vain world?
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments.
Right.
For this is the whole duty of man.
That's the whole duty of man. Fear God. So how do you keep the fear of God? What's the question? How do you maintain the fear of God from day to day? You remember what your duty is. Remember why you were created, and remember this world is going straight to hell because it's caught on vanity. And you should be afraid of the one that can take your life and kill you twice. Right? Pick it up at verse 14, bro. Because it's the whole duty of man. Josh, verse 14.
Verse 14. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing.
Whoa, wait a minute. You should be afraid. Be very afraid. Right? He's going to all your little secrets that you think you got, he's going to unfold them. So it's better to confess them. It's better to be honest because God sees it. He wants you to be honest with your dirt because he see it anyway. You can't hide nothing from God. It's better to confess your faults and ask God for forgiveness and strength and wisdom so you can be better and you can get eternal life. That's what we all need to be doing, right? Right?
Yep.
Yeah, Josh, no? Right? Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God. That is your duty. That's the call of duty. That's your whole duty. Fear God and keep his commandment, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So that's how you know that, hey, the law can't be done away with. We're going to be judged on whether we do good works or bad works. Even going back to the Old Testament, it's telling you about the future. Because the judgment day ain't happened yet. Right? So now, like we started off in the lesson, I said we was going to Joshua 1. Let's do it. Let me keep my word. Let's go back to Joshua 1. Let's go back to Joshua 1. And let's see what it says. Joshua 1, what you need to be doing. Verse 6, go ahead. Joshua 1 and verse 6, let's go.
Be strong and of a good courage. For unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous.
Only be thou strong and very courageous. Only be thou strong and very courageous. Only be thou strong and very courageous. Go ahead.
That thou mayest observe to do according to the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest.
That's what you need to do. You got to be in this book. You want to maintain the fear of the Lord? You have to have this word in your mind. You want to maintain every day? Well, let's see how we should act every day. What did it say?
verse 8.
Yup.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
There shall meditate how long?
Day and night.
Day and night. Every single day. So how do you maintain the fear of God from day to day? You get in this book from day to day. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. Man, you's a punk. So day and night, like Kid Cudi, day and night, right? But yeah, you always good on that side. But that's how you do it, bro. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth. So you should be, bro, we are so blessed to be living in the last days where knowledge has increased because you got lessons in your back pocket. Do you know how unfathomable this was? You know they had to wait to go to the synagogue. They had to walk to the synagogue. They didn't have cars, right? You know how accessible the truth is now compared to back in the day? Even going back 100, 200 years? There is no excuse, brothers and sisters, for us to let our mind and our own thoughts get the best of us. Because especially when you baptize and you have the Spirit and you striving and you believe in the Lord, bro, as soon as that wicked thought comes into your mind, you need to cast it down. And it's so easy that you got a lesson, just put on a lesson. Put on the Bible app. Don't get caught up in your head. You got to get out of your head and focus on the law day and night. That's how you maintain the fear of God from day to day. Let's go see what it say in Philippians. Let's go see what it say in Philippians. And I see you got one question. And I see you, Sister Tish. I see you got a question too. So we got two questions. And what's up, Brother Ronald? Peace, fam. Peace in Jesus' name, bruh. Philippians. We're going to go back to 1 Corinthians a little later.
We done with Joshua?
Nah. Yeah, we done with Josh. We going to Philippians. Philippians 2. Because how do you maintain the fear of God from day to day? Well, we reading about it, right? In verse 12, Philippians 2 and verse 12. Go ahead.
Wherefore, my beloved.
This is where we started in the lesson today. Go ahead.
As ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Work out your own salvation. So you have to do this for yourself. Can't nobody make you do this. Can't nobody force you to do this. And you can't force nobody else to do it. Right? The Father got to draw somebody. The Father got to draw them. Right? So, with that being said, that's what you got to do. And you should be afraid of the punishment of the Lord. Let's go over to, I want to say Matthew 12 or Luke 12. Let me see. Or is it Luke 10 and Matthew 12? Let's see. Let's go over to Matthew 12. Let's go over to Matthew 12.
This is the same question.
Yeah, this is the same question because it's about maintaining the fear of the Lord? This is a very important question, right? Because if you don't have that fear, you'll be bound to do anything. That fear gonna keep you in check. You gotta realize that God's not playing, right? So now, did we want this? Matthew 12. I think it's Matthew 10. Yeah, let me see. Let me check Matthew 10. Yeah, Matthew 10, y'all. Matthew 10, and pick it up at 25. Matthew 10. Matthew 10, and actually pick it up at 22, because you need to understand some things as a servant. Matthew 10 and verse 22. Go ahead.
And ye shall be hated of all men.
Wow.
For my name's sake.
Dang, bro. Just like that? Hated of all men, huh? That's crazy. That's because the world hates God. Literally, the world. The world, Craig. Go ahead.
But he that endureth to the end shall be saved.
He that endured to the end. You got to endure to the end. So you got to be prepared to know that this is a battle to the end. That should keep your mind in the right place, right? You got to put on your armor. Go read Ephesians 6 on your own, okay? We can't read everything. Go ahead.
Verse 22.
Go ahead.
And ye shall be, verse 23.
Go ahead.
But when they persecute you in this city,
right,
flee ye into another.
Right.
For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the city of Israel till the Son of Man be come.
Wow. That's until the second coming. So you got to be prepared, brothers and sisters, to do everything that's possible to serve God. Not just fear, right? You need patience, you need strength, you need endurance, because you have to endure to the end. But that fear is talking about both reverence, respect, right? And you literally should be afraid of what the Most High can do to you. Go ahead.
The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord.
Right.
It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the Lord, master as his Lord, if they have called the master of the house
Beelzebub.
Beelzebub.
Yeah, that's a evil. We calling him the devil, pretty much. They call Christ the devil. That's how crazy our people are. Go ahead.
How much more shall they call them of his household?
That means us. How much more so they gonna call us in a cult and devils, right? Hate crew, right? Exactly. For telling them the truth. Go ahead.
Fear them not therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known.
Yup.
What I tell you in darkness.
Let's get down to 28.
And fear not
Whoa,
them.
wait a minute. And fear not them. So who are you not fearing? All the people that's going, exactly, and not just any men, but the men that will persecute you, hate you, and eventually try to kill you for telling them the truth. Right? So, and fear not them which what?
Fear not them which kill the body.
Which kill the body. So that's not what you should be afraid in this life. You shouldn't fear death, especially if you serving God. Death is actually a good thing if you die in Christ, because now you don't have to worry about making no more mistakes. That's why you should strive to get it right daily, because if you do go, you good. You got it made in the shade, bro. You literally in the shade. You can't see nothing under that grave, and no sunshine, and literally you don't see a thing. No thoughts, your thoughts perish. It's like being asleep. That's why it's called rest in peace. You just sleeping. When you sleep, you don't know, but when you wake up, you know that you slept. But when you sleep, you don't know unless you're having a dream, right? And sometimes you don't even remember the dream. So sleep, that's why sleep is the cousin of death, right? Because it's so related, it's so similar, right? So that's easy. If you could sleep until it's over, that's actually pretty sweet. People look at death sometimes in the wrong light because we look at how it made them feel. Like you look at how it makes you feel that person's dead. But what about that person? That person might need that sleep, bro. That person might have been through a lot, and the Lord killed them so they don't have to worry about the evil to come. We do. Some of us not gonna make it when this evil comes, when great tribulation comes. Some people gonna give up and take the mark of the beast. Some people gonna betray other people in the truth. Some people gonna turn on family members. That's what it say. It would have been better for you to be dead. But God obviously had other plans for you. He had to test you and try your faith. Sometimes he'll kill somebody now because he know their faith good. And now all you got to do is rest until the kingdom come. So, and fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, right? And body and soul, one and the same. Go ahead.
But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
That's what you need to fear. Why wouldn't you fear that? Hebrews 10. We're not done. We got a couple more. We're going to go here and we're going to go to Revelation. We're going to be done. We'll give you some more motivation for fear.
Oh, I think I know this scripture.
Matter of fact, before we go, matter of fact, before we go any further, Hebrews 10. Let's go to Hebrews 6. Let's go to Hebrews 6.